Awakening the Third Eye. Chapter number 18. Protection. Sealing the aura. The fight or flight reaction. Before going through techniques of protection, it may be interesting to have a look at what nature does when she wants us to be protected. What is the natural reaction when the life of a human being is threatened by great danger? It is the fight or flight response, which is mediated through a massive discharge of secretions of the sympathetic nervous system, involving the adrenal glands. The arterial pressure is increased, the heart beats faster and more strongly, and a number of drastic physiological changes take place that increase your muscular strength and mental activity. Suddenly you are fully awake. What does this mean in terms of subtle bodies? When the astral body, layer of mental consciousness and emotions, is floating away from the etheric and physical bodies, you are asleep or sleepy, or in a deep state of meditation. Everything in the physical body is very relaxed, and the etheric body is dilated and spread out to a certain extent. From what we have just described, you can readily conclude that exactly the opposite takes place in the fight or flight reaction. The astral body is pulled strongly into the etheric and physical bodies and exerts its action, which tends to make everything contract. Of course, it would not be appropriate to trigger a big shot of adrenaline every time you wish to induce psychic protection. Yet it is important to notice that in terms of subtle bodies, the natural response when physical protection is needed is a vigorous impaction of the astral body into the etheric and physical bodies. Sealing the aura. Why and when? We are permanently exchanging energies with our environment, the same way as we inhale and exhale air, ingest liquids and foodstuff, and pass out urine and stools. In our present framework of existence, no life is possible without exchange. But that does not mean we should take just anything in. For instance, inhale enough carbon monoxide or swallow just a little cyanide, and your physical body is dead. Just as some physical substances are poisonous to the physical body, so some etheric and astral energies are to your subtle bodies. Similarly, just as chronic bleeding exhausts the physical body, so a leakage of etheric energy can deplete your pool of life force and leave you depressed, tired and sick, even if your doctor can't find anything wrong with you. For instance, the company of some people leaves you exhausted. Spend just half an hour, or even less with them, and suddenly you feel tired and less joyful, if not semi-depressed. You were light, and now you feel heavy, you were happy, and now you feel worn out. It is very likely that a drainage has taken place, a sort of vampirism of your life force. The whole process is really a waste, because usually the person who drains you does not even receive the energy that you have lost. It is more a dissipation than a transfer that takes place. The problem can become drastic for therapists, especially, but not only, when physical contact is involved, as in massage, for instance. Many people who learn massage, and who are quite enthusiastic about it in the beginning, give it up after 2 or 3 years of practice, simply because they are not able to protect themselves and get too drained. Another high-risk situation of vampirism is whenever you have to deal with lots of people, for instance if you sell train tickets in a station or bread rolls in a shop. The need for a technique to seal your aura is obvious. How do you know when you have caught a negative energy? Well, that is precisely one of the problems. Most people do not notice when it happens because they are completely unaware of their energy. You can therefore readily come to the conclusion that perception and awareness are the first steps towards real protection. If you are not able to sense what takes place in a room on the level of energy, you walk through life as if you were blindfold, trying to cross a forest full of swamps. So all the work that is suggested in this book, from channel release to seeing auras and dosing earth lines, will be the first step towards gaining a genuine protection. For instance, some houses that would have seemed normal to you in the past will immediately be recognized as suspect as soon as you enter the front door. Then you can be on guard, seal your aura and take any other necessary precautions. Opening and closing the aura. Introductory practice. An important skill to develop is the capacity to recognize how open or closed your aura is, and later on to modify this balance at will. For instance, just after a night practice or a deep meditation, or when you are floating and spaced out, your aura is very open. We have seen earlier that the fight or flight reaction closes your energy. However, we are in search of something less clumsy and stressful. Here is an exercise to introduce you to the art of sealing the aura. Phase 1. Opening. Sit in a meditation position on a mat or a chair. Keep your eyes closed throughout the practice. Start meditating, going through the different phases of the first technique: friction and vibration in the throat, vibration in the eye, light in the eye, the purple space. After 5 or 10 minutes, become aware above the head. Remain just aware of the space, floating above the head. Doing nothing, just being aware. Let yourself be spread out above the head. Then try to sense the limits of your aura. How far does your energy extend? Could you sense the presence of objects around you, even if you can't see them? Could you touch them with your aura? If there are other people in the room, can you sense their presence within your own space? How does your aura mingle with the people and the objects around you? Could you even get a sense of the walls of the room? How dense does your aura feel? Tune into the energy inside and around your body. Does your energy feel thick or sparse? Go on exploring in every direction for a few minutes with an open awareness above the head. Phase 2. Sealing. Next, refocus between the eyebrows. Start breathing with a marked throat friction and build up a strong vibration between the eyebrows. Vibration, light and space in the eye correspond to 3 levels of increasing depth of experience. When you are in the space, you are deeper into astral consciousness than when you are seeing colors. And when you are seeing colors, you are deeper than when you are feeling the vibration. Now is the time to awaken an intense vibration in the eye. There may be some light, but a thick and intensely vibrating light, not an airy-fairy floating one. Don't let yourself fade into the space. Rub your hands for a few seconds, then become motionless with the palms upwards. Feel the vibration in your hands, as in channel release work. Connect the vibration in the hands with the vibration in the eye. Rubbing the hands awakens a very physical and grounded vibration in the eye, which is exactly what you want. Maintain the throat friction to benefit from its amplifying effect. Then try to feel the same intense vibration all over your body. Now, try to get a sense of the limits of your aura again. How far do you extend? Can you still feel the limits of the room? Can you still touch other people and objects inside the room with your aura? Then sense the density of your aura. Become aware of the energy inside and outside your physical body. Is it as fluid as before? Spend 1 or 2 minutes exploring, keeping a strong vibration in the eye and the throat friction. Tips. It is a very common experience when going through this practice to feel one's aura much wider, more open and diluted in the first phase. In the second phase, the aura is perceived as smaller, thicker and closed to external influences. In the second phase you can no longer feel the limits of the room or touch other people or objects with your aura, simply because your aura is more compacted and does not extend as far as before. Obviously, in the first phase your aura is more open than in the second. Another sensation can arise when your aura is fully open. It is not uncommon to feel higher up, as if above your body. You may also have the feeling that your energy is elongated upwards and stretched like a marshmallow. When the aura is closed and gathered, you will sometimes get the feeling that your body wants to bend forwards, rounding the back with the shoulders forward. How does this mechanism of closing and opening the aura work? It is nothing other than a practical demonstration of the contracting power of the astral body. In the first phase, when you are floating in the space, when you can hardly feel your physical body, your astral body is half inside, half outside the etheric and physical bodies. How far away your astral body may go depends on how deeply you can meditate. In some states of profound meditation, similar to the Samadhi states of the Indian tradition, you are completely out. Another situation of complete withdrawal takes place when you have built your subtle vehicles to the point of being able to astral travel. On the other hand, when you awaken a strong physical vibration in the eye, when you can feel the vibration flowing in your hands and all over the body, it is just the opposite that takes place. Your astral body is fully impacted into the etheric and physical bodies. Therefore, due to the contracting action of the astral body, your aura is sealed, much more impermeable to external influences. This allows you to understand clearly why it is so difficult to fall asleep when experiencing a strong vibration in the eye. Now, let us be very clear on one point. I am not suggesting that one of the two conditions of energy, either the open or the closed one, is superior to the other. Saying this would be like supporting the idea that sleeping is superior to being awake, or vice versa. These are two phases of existence, each as indispensable as the other. Life cannot blossom without the alternating succession of sleeping and waking, and the master is the one who can sometimes be completely open and sometimes completely closed. However, there are times when one of these two conditions is inappropriate. For instance, if you fall asleep every time you arrive at work, and if you are wide awake as soon as you get into bed, you are in trouble. Similarly, if you allow your aura to be too open when you are waiting in a packed railway station or visiting a friend in a hospital, you may catch all sorts of negative influences. You may even get sick in an insidious way, for there may be quite a long delay between the energy contamination and the onset of the disease, so that you won't be able to make the connection between the cause and the effect. A basic principle is, whenever you need protection, be completely inside your body, not floating above. Protection through being in the eye. At this stage, a commonly held false notion should be corrected. You may have heard people comment on how a psychic opening may leave you more vulnerable to negative energies and influences. If you are following a complete training in which you learn to close your energy as well as open it, there is nothing more false. The very opposite takes place. Due to your increased perception, you can immediately detect when protection is needed. Due to your mastery of energy, you can achieve such protection by sealing your aura. Moreover, the more you progress, the more the sealing of your aura tends to take place automatically as soon as your higher self senses a possible negative energy approaching your field. So you end up being naturally protected from all sorts of negative energies which the man in the street unconsciously catches all the time. Of course, if you are following a teaching that shows you only how to open your aura and to float above, then you may become more vulnerable. This may be the case if you are trying to become a trance-medium psychic and make yourself transparent so you can pick up ideas and trends of influence. This can also be the case if you are following a spiritual path in which everything is designed to unground you. Eating very little and very light foods, waking up before dawn, so you remain half asleep during the whole day, cultivating an airy-fairy state of mind. Such methods may be appropriate if you are withdrawn from the world, living in a monastery or meditating in a cave. But unless you spend your life in a secluded environment, they leave you unprotected and exposed. The clairvision techniques have been designed for those who live in the world. That is one of the reasons why the very first technique of this book aims at awakening the vibration in the third eye. By learning to maintain a permanent vigilance in the eye, you build up a wonderful shield against negative energies and you develop your sensitivity and your intuition at the same time. The will center. There is a center of energy located approximately 1 inch below the navel that is of great value whenever you need protection. It corresponds to the area of the acupuncture points conception 5 and conception 6 and is related to the hara, where one learns to concentrate energy in martial arts. If you search with your fingers about 1 inch below the navel, you will find a depression, like a notch right in the middle of the abdominal wall. The will center is more or less centered around this notch. The notch is sometimes felt more easily when you contract the abdominal muscles. If there is too much fatty tissue in the area, it becomes very difficult to feel the notch. What are the functions of this center? It is a place in which an extraordinary potential of energy is stored. For instance, the Chinese name for the acupuncture point conception 6 is Kai Hai, which means the sea of energy. Through proper training, this energy may be made available to the physical body. Another essential function of this center is physical grounding. The name of the point conception 5 is Shai Men, meaning the gate of stone. This is the foundation stone upon which everything can be established, the same way as Peter was the rock upon which the church could be founded. The Greek word for stone is Petra. The center below the navel is the will center. This applies to common will, but also to the supernatural will of the wizard who can perform actions beyond the normal range of the laws of nature. It is also in this area that the Taoist alchemists work at structuring the embryo of immortality, a new body made of non-physical, immortal matter, in which they can depart and maintain conscious existence after physical death. This center is therefore essential in the work of inner alchemy. But apart from alchemy, there are a number of daily life circumstances in which you can derive great benefits from focusing your awareness in this center. When you need to be physically strong to perform a task that requires an effort. When you need to be psychologically strong and assertive when negotiating at an auction, for instance. When you need to display authority or to resist the authority of a domineering person. When you need to stand up for yourself, to resist aggressive people and remain calm at the same time. When you need to protect yourself against negative energies, in a hospital for instance, or a similar type of dangerous and highly polluted energetic environment. When you are tired and weak. The Taoists also suggest that you should work on this center to restore your energies after having conceived a child, for a man, or after having delivered the child, for a woman. Let's now look at practices to awaken and strengthen the will center. Practice. Sit in a meditation position. When working at developing the center below the navel, a good posture is to sit on your knees, with your buttocks on your heels, or with your buttocks between your heels, in which case the posture becomes the Vajrasana of Hatha Yoga. But the practice can very well be performed while sitting on a chair, provided you keep your back straight. Slightly contract the abdominal muscles and massage the point 1 inch below the navel by rotating the end of the middle finger between the index and the ring finger in the notch, if you can find it, or otherwise simply 1 inch below the navel. Keep on for half a minute or so and then release. Then try to feel the vibration in the area. Rub your hands for a few seconds, then hold them flat, one on top of the other, parallel to the abdomen 2 or 3 inches away from the will center. Start breathing with the throat friction. Connect it with the tingling between the eyebrows. Build up a strong vibration in the eye for 2 or 3 minutes. Then, keeping up the throat friction, Become aware of the vibration in the will center 1 inch below the navel, where you felt the vibration after massaging. Connect the throat friction with the will center to build up the vibration. Feel the vibration in your hands and in the will center. The way they are placed, the hands act as reflectors and concentrate the vibration. Keep on with the practice for a few minutes, reinforcing the vibration 1 inch below the navel through both the throat friction and the reflecting action of your hands. Eye belly awareness. Sit in a meditation position with your eyes closed. Start breathing with the throat friction, building up the vibration in the eye for 2 or 3 minutes. Then practice being aware of the vibration, both in the eye and in the will center. Maintain your throat friction to enhance the vibration and to connect the two centers. In the beginning, some kind of link can be established between the two centers. As you proceed further, try to anchor the eye into the center in the belly. Remember, no imagination, no visualization. The experience is quite tangible, as if your eye was being grounded, rooted in the vibration of the will center. Continue for a few minutes, building up the vibration in the two centers and connecting them. Then open your eyes. Start looking at some objects around you, one after another. Remain very motionless, aware both in the eye and below the navel. There is the object, there is the fact of seeing, and there is the vibration in the eye and below the navel. When we were practicing looking at objects and being aware in the eye, we noticed that a certain centeredness would arise spontaneously. Now it is not only centeredness, but also grounding that can be experienced. By being both in the eye and in the belly, you automatically feel more solid, more dense, less likely to float away with the first puff of wind. It is as if you were making a denser hole in the physical space. Tips: if practiced sufficiently, this technique will put you more in touch with your own power. It can be recommended to people who suffer from low self-esteem and need to develop their assertiveness. I have had encouraging results with these techniques of grounding when working with borderline schizophrenics. Due to the nature of their disease, certain schizophrenic patients are caught up in a turmoil of extrasensory perceptions which are sometimes genuine, but completely out of control, and therefore generating a terrible anxiety, if not panic. By teaching schizophrenics how to ground themselves vigorously, when they sense a flash of delirium approaching, they are sometimes able to avoid it and keep their sanity. Walking from the belly. Reread section 12.8 for the description of this technique. On the basis of the anchoring work we have just done, you should now be able to walk from the belly in a much more convincing way. Stimulating the fire. It is not necessary to be in a meditation position for this particular exercise, but it is preferable to be seated. As always in life, it is better to keep your back straight. Become aware in the eye and in the will center. Become aware of your breath and breathe from the abdomen only. Abdominal breathing means that when you inhale and exhale, nothing moves in your chest. When you inhale, only your abdomen moves forwards and the ribcage remains motionless. Remain aware of the breath, and for 1 or 2 minutes keep watching any movement in the trunk to make sure that nothing moves apart from your abdomen. Then proceed in the following way: maintain a purely abdominal breathing, without any movement of the chest. But with each inhalation, contract the abdominal muscles, operating a counter pressure. Each time you exhale, relax everything. Breathe according to your normal rhythm. The intensity of the breath is as usual or slightly deeper. Each time you inhale, contract the muscles of the abdominal wall and build up the pressure in the belly. While exhaling, relax all muscles. Remain aware of the vibration in the eye and in the will center, and continue with the same breathing for as long as half an hour or more if you wish. Tips. This practice may seem simple, yet it can awaken considerable energy. The regular practice of this exercise is recommended to those who find it difficult to tap from the assertive energy of their will center. Try this exercise just before an exam, to fight anxiety, and to awaken the energy you need. It is also remarkably efficient after a heavy meal, or whenever you are close to indigestion. On one hand, there is a mechanical action, like an internal massage, that speeds up the emptying of the stomach and bowels. On the other hand, there is a powerful stimulation of the digestive fire through an activation of the abdominal centers of energy. This is the end of chapter 18 of Awakening the Third Eye by Samuel Sagan, MD. Break time equals 2000 milliseconds. Please listen to this recording minimum 3 times for better and long-term results. If you like this recording, please comment and share it with your friends and loved ones. Stay tuned for listening more books like this. Thank you and good luck.